Have you ever felt like you're speaking to a room full of strangers instead of to a vibrant, unified classroom? Today, I'm going to explore with you how building a strong classroom community can transform your teaching experience and turn those little strangers into a connected and collaborative team. Okay, not all of them are little students. I taught primary, so that's kind of my frame of reference. I did teach middle school and intermediate, but really my heart's in primary. So let me share a story about an unexpected lesson in community building from my favorite maple syrup vendor at the farmer's market. So I live in BC, or British Columbia, Canada, which is on our west coast. And Quebec is the are kind of on the east side of the middle of the country. And so it's not quite across the continent, but then again, it's a pretty big continent. And each year he travels all the way from Quebec to bring me and others maple syrup here in BC. He owns the trees, he owns the forest that his sugar trees are in. He gathers the sap, which is what it is, and he boils it down. And I've seen pictures. He's actually, the pictures are on his website of his where he reduces it into the syrup that he sells. And despite only seeing me for about 10 minutes a year, he recognizes me each and every year, and he knows that I come and that I love his syrup. There was one day in particular that that he knows you, because he had his you know how you can just tap a card, even at a farmer's market, they've got those little white squares now, and you can tap it and your payment will be transferred, and his wasn't working. And the internet wasn't working so well for the farmer's market that day. And he looked at me and he didn't want to lose the sale and he didn't want to put me out. And he said, just send it to me later. And I thought, wow, he has no idea what my name is. Never, I mean, he knows my face, but where is he going to find that? And for me, that was a big act of trust. And that act of trust made me truly feel like part of his community. And this also, this simple act of trust made me realize how powerful a community can be. And it got me to thinking about how vital it is to build the same sense of community into our classrooms to nurture a supportive learning environment. This is not news to me. Classroom community building is one of my 5 pillars of classroom management, but it really reinformed me about how feeling a part of somebody's community can change your day and the way you approach them, and even how you approach the others around you. Imagine feeling remembered and valued. That's the power of community. The Soul Foundation, in their article, Enhancing Well-Being, the top benefits of social interaction on mental health, identified that community not only supports physical and mental health, but plays a crucial role in education. Classroom community builds a sense of belonging that is essential for both learning and for well-being. This classroom community makes it a key pillar of classroom management, as I mentioned a little earlier on. A classroom community is more than a group of students and teachers. It's a collaborative environment where everyone feels valued and respected, hopefully. I mean, whatever community you've created is what you've got. But what we hope for a classroom community is that everyone feels valued and respected. This sense of belonging leads to increased motivation and engagement, and it creates a fertile ground for your students to learn in. In the classroom, this looks like your students treating each other with respect and patience, and treating you with respect and patience, and working together well, even when they're not working with their best friend. They understand that their job is to be respectful and kind and engaged with everybody. So to summarize those key characteristics of a strong classroom community, as opposed to a poor classroom community, number one would be mutual trust and respect. Everyone in the class, teachers and students alike, have trust and respect for each other, creating a safe space for risk-taking and open communication. Sense of belonging. Feelings of isolation are reduced and participation is increased because every student feels a part of the group. And of course, there's shared goals and values in a community where everyone is working towards shared academic and behavioral goals. We're not done yet. Collaborative learning is a part of it. There's shared discussions, group activities, and peer teaching allows students to support each other's learning. And so this is part of how you nurture a classroom community and make it happen, but it's also a sign that you've developed a classroom community because of how well and this part of it, the collaborative learning, works and is evident in your classroom. And you've got your positive relationships. The relationships between students and also between teachers and students are nurturing of each other. These relationships are built through consistent, meaningful interactions. And when you say that they're nurturing of each other, I can't tell you how many times and in how many ways my students communicated their love for me that really nurtured me. Everything from I was supervising sledding and, being invited to sled because they really wanted me to go down the hill with them, to coming up to share a laugh or a picture. That was me supporting them and they just wanted to show me, but it also nurtured me because I knew that in our relationship together, our feedback and showing me their successes really mattered to them. That's very nurturing as far as I'm concerned. Other characteristics of a strong community are your students are engaged and motivated because they feel safe. This is an environment in which they can experiment, make mistakes, try new things with support and by being nurtured. And of course, they have a relationship with all of their peers because they built a strong community. So conflict resolution is typically more easily achieved. In the article Social Relationships and Motivation in Middle School, the role of parents, teachers, and peers by K.R. Windsor identified that building community in the classroom leads to higher academic achievement, better emotional health, and fewer behavioral issues. The academic benefits are because a strong classroom community creates a safe learning environment, and in a safe environment, students are typically more willing to take risks and participate. When I talked to you, as you'll remember from when I talked about characteristics, there's increased participation because with greater comfort becomes more sharing of ideas. Students feel safer to ask questions, leading to a deeper understanding of the material. And then, of course, there's enhanced collaboration. Inside a healthier, more accepting environment, peer learning and group work become more effective as the students help each other more academically. So ultimately, you achieve higher academic achievement. According to the research, students in classrooms with a strong sense of community do tend to have stronger academic results. Okay, so in the article for Students' Need for Belonging in the School Community, Karen F. Osterman identified the following social emotional benefits of community building for students and some of them for teachers too. There's increased engagement amongst the students. They're more engaged and motivated to learn when they feel they belong. You can start to see how these kind of overlaps with the characteristics and things that I've already spoken about, but so some of these benefits fall under more than one heading, but you can see how pervasive it is. Emotional well-being, the lowered anxiety and stress that occurs within a healthy classroom community creates a supportive environment, all of which leads to better emotional health for students and for you because there's less anxiety and stress for you, so less of it's reverberating off you. And sometimes the classroom community is causing, or the poor classroom community is causing you anxiety and stress as you uh, support students through conflict resolution and they fight over things and you know it causes you so much anxiety and stress as you're trying to get to a lesson. So community building is vital for everybody in the classroom, students and teachers. Positive relationships. So as students build strong relationships with their peers and the teacher, a sense of security and belonging is developed. And this again creates that safety net for learning and making mistakes. This is essential for social development. I mean, think about it. When you go into an environment where you don't feel socially safe, how successful are you going to be socially? Well, it's the same for our students. And resilience. Within the strong community, students can develop the resilience and coping strategies to face challenges. So they come in and their bestie is angry at them and a little bit rude over time, or doesn't want to share with them or wants to play with another friend. With time, in a safe, supportive environment where community is being built, they understand that and take it less as a personal statement about who they are and their worthiness. They develop the resilience that is required for more successful coping strategies and lifelong success. So Victor Batistish et al. Shared in an article called Sharing in School Communities, which researched the behavioral benefits of community and causing lower dropout rates. The students remained engaged and invested in their education, making the likelihood of dropping out lower. This is so classroom community is when you're making peer pressure works. And I've said this to so many parents. I had one parent come in and talk to me about some of the challenges they were having with their child, and their child was struggling with behavior in an off-campus group, in an extracurricular activity, and was asking me for input. And I had to say, and honestly, I said, that environment is nothing like a classroom community. I've got peer pressure working for me every single day, and that's part of the benefit of working with a group of children, is peer pressure. We think of as such a negative thing, but if your students agree to the expectations and you reinforce these strong, positive, solid expectations with affirmations and encouragements, and really let your students know you believe in them, then the peer pressure works because everybody wants it to work and everybody's happy and enjoying it. And you don't want to step out of line because you want to be included, that you want to maintain that feeling of inclusion in this very positive community. So ultimately, that then learns to better behavior. When students feel connected to their classroom community, they're more likely to make positive choices. And this student that I mentioned about the extracurricular activity, uh, I have to tell you, was an absolute angel in my class. And the student never made any mistakes, but I'd look at them and say, really? And I'd get this, and then never again. Because I think, as much as anything, the student just wanted, maybe I hadn't noticed that student enough recently. I don't know. But it was a great moment of connection. And I didn't have any behavioral problems where some existed in other parts of that student's life. So I know that, and so many other stories, I know this to be effective. Okay, so I've got you with me. You're believing in the power of community, classroom community building. So let's talk about how to make the community or build the classroom community. Lots and lots and lots of people do morning meetings, and they use a structured format, such as starting with a greeting, including a sharing time, group activity, and a morning message. In my particular classroom, we had a morning meeting, and I taught in a Christian school primarily, and uh, well, for the longest time, yeah. And every morning after we'd done our morning routine of putting away backpacks and getting our overnight book for the day and all that kind of stuff, getting our chair out, putting our shoes on, we'd all meet together at the carpet. And when I wandered over, then we'd all sit in a circle and we'd say good morning, and each student would say good morning, and we'd say good morning in their name, and we'd go around and students could share something. And sometimes I'd say something simple like a would you rather question that they had written. And so some of them were goofy. Sometimes we'd share prayer needs. We, in our class, we always started with the Lord's Prayer when we were sitting in that circle. And like I said, we did share prayer needs, although we also had a meeting at the end of the day. And that's more often when we prayed for each other. In the morning, it was more just the Lord's Prayer. But part of that was also calendar. And so we get up and we do the celebrate the birthday child, if there was one that day. We'd celebrate the star of the week at the morning carpet. Like, there were all sorts of ways. And star of the week was just fantastic for letting the students know about each other. So morning meetings are a fantastic strategy. Make it look like you want it to look. Make it authentic to you. If you see something that somebody else is doing and you go, say, what? Don't do it that way. Do it your way. I'm a little scattered sometimes, as maybe you can tell. So mine had some consistency, but also different things crept in every day. But it was always engaging and fun. And yeah, so make it authentic to you. So also your students can have opportunities for collaboration during free time. That is when, for example, my students in my class would go to the classroom library. Usually during reading time, they had to read from their book box where they could read uh, most of the books in that box. And that was what they selected from. During free time, they didn't have to look at their book box. They could, of course, but they didn't have to. They could read any book in the library. If they were reading the top book in the class and they wanted to go back to a CVC reader, they could do that. I had a very extensive classroom reading from preschool to, say, grade 5, 6 reading level, and they could look at any book that they wanted to in there. And they'd share them with each other and look at them together, 5 around the Guinness World Book of Records as they look at the pictures and talk about, oh, that's so gross, no, that's so cool. Very collaborative. We also had STEM kits, which they enjoyed together regularly. They had to talk, they problem solve. Sometimes they built the same thing over and over and over again. And the girls just using different colors, the boys making a racetrack over and over and over, but with different, patterns and designs to racetrack. I don't care. They're having so much fun. They're engaged. Kids need playtime, and they were working on it together. There was also no requirement that they interact. They typically did, but I also think it's really important to have quiet activities during this time so that students who really just want to color because they're dealing with a personal hurt, they're tired, um, or they just don't feel like engaging with their peers. For whatever reason, we had quiet activities as well, but lots of interactive options were available. Of course, it's cheating if we don't have collaborative opportunities during the learning time as well. I say tongue in cheek. But to have collaborative opportunities during learning time is one of the most effective ways of building classroom community and of creating engagement, frankly. So this encourages teamwork and peer support, and it can be enhanced by a monthly rotation of seating arrangements that helps everyone to know everyone. I am not one for spending hours creating partner programs. I had groups of 4 desks, and if there were uneven numbers, then that had to change a little bit. But groups of 4, always different groups of 4, and they worked with the people at that table, or I'd say side by side students across from each other students. And I used random partner cards, and this was part of community building. They loved the random partner cards. They requested the random partner cards. So they learned to engage with all of the peers in the class. And so I didn't have any of those problems. They knew it was an expectation. Having an attitude about it was not expected. I did have one little boy come halfway through the year, and he'd been bullied, and he came from an environment where there was a lot of complaining. And he did complain one day in class, and there was stone silence. I have to confess, I was a little unprepared because it never happened to me in all my years in primary teaching. It never happened to me because we built up this expectation. And so we all kind of stopped. The other students looked at him in silence, and I kind of said, it's okay. You work with that partner, but come talk to me first. And then when he came talk to me quietly, and I said, you know what, buddy, this is just the way it is. And you're safe here. Who you can work with whoever, and it's fine. Do you know the next day he actually requested the cards? And I had to explain to him that in that particular activity, the cards weren't going to work. It's not how, because he was just getting used to our routines and procedures. And so I had to communicate that to him. And then he looked a little embarrassed and blushed a little bit. And we just smiled, and he got it. And that was it. That was the end of it. And this little boy went from being bullied to feeling a part of the classroom and feeling safe. And let me tell you, his learning skyrocketed. So safety is huge for students. So on this slide, you can see one of the resources that I would use. I would use cards like this, task cards like this, for Write the Room More. This again is a resource that I've created for my store, and it is a Write the Room, and it's differentiated in so many ways. Each resource has 3, sorry, I'm looking down at the picture on my screen here. Sorry about that. I'll look back at you here. But in each set of task cards, you get 3 differentiated worksheets. And when you check out the research, you'll find more about that. And then for each number strategy, so whether it's doubles or near doubles, the cards are available in each of the missing number positions in both number sentences and number bonds. And then it also includes addition and subtraction, and it includes color and black and white. So each resource on its own can contain a lot. So for the missing sum, you get the color and the black and white and the three different uh, differentiated worksheets. And then if you want the bundle, it comes with the three missing numbers, with number sentence and number bonds, just to be clear. But there's an awful lot in there. But activities like this, where they can do it on their own, but even if students are doing Right the Room, they are working on their own, but they're also helping each other. And it's a very gentle, subtle, it's not a noisy classroom, but they're moving freely. They're saying, excuse me, pardon me, I can't find card G. Did you find it? Like, and it's even that is a great community building activity, because going up to somebody that you're feeling shy with and going, do you know where G is? Maybe all that that student can handle as far as introducing themselves to a peer. It's a great icebreaker activity. Or you can use them as task cards at a small group and they can work through them together, or just share them. Classroom jobs. Well, these create a sense of classroom ownership, and because basically you're assigning everyone roles and responsibilities. This becomes their place, their home, away from home. And I rotated the chores weekly, so you don't get stuck on favorite chores and somebody gets stuck with the sucky chore. Let's be honest. Just because I love sweeping, I mean, I don't, but if that was my favorite chore, just because I love that doesn't mean everybody does. And I have actually had students fight over sweeping. Um, but, and my students really did seem to enjoy taking a lot of time, and one would hold a brush pen and the other one would hold the broom, and they really enjoyed working on that. But anyways, but not everybody was as fond of it as others, but overall it was a favorite. But you couldn't give that to one student for the year. That's not fair. But I'll be honest, if you are spending time cleaning up your own class, touching up your own class for sure, but don't spend your time cleaning up your own class. In Japan, they don't even have custodians. Okay, restorative practices. um, Hold restorative circles where students can express feelings, share experiences, and resolve conflicts. If you know what, if my kids came in at recess and they had a conflict outside, they all they would do is come in and say, "Can we have lunch together?" Because they would know that I would know that that meant we were meeting in a class, and their friend would come in, and we'd all sit down and we'd eat lunch together and we'd just talk it out. And it was that peaceful. We were just having lunch together as I helped them to communicate better together. Great community building strategy as they learn to listen and understand each other better, empathize with each other, see things from a different perspective. Classroom expectations. Work together with your students to establish the rules and expectations of your classroom. This creates a sense of shared responsibility. Learning projects that are service oriented. This was actually an expectation in our school, and it was organized pretty much by somebody else, and we would just participate in it, but we also, as teachers, cottoned on pretty quickly and created within the classroom. And this creates a sense of civic community, so beyond the classroom, and it also nurtures servant-heartedness by engaging students in local projects like a recycling program or a school garden. And nothing got me more excited than telling 6 and 7-year-olds that they could make a difference. One year, during COVID, so we couldn't do the expected program, but online, some large organization, we were doing a unit on studying water, and somebody had sponsored any student who walks, was it a kilometer or a mile? I can't remember right now, but or classroom, I guess, generated, I think it was 35 cents towards this water for Africa in the villages. So we chalked up like $1,400. We were doing laps anyways. I just dedicated a little bit of extra time to it, and it was very powerful. And I was able to tell the students, this is how much you just, as a group, as a team, shared with kids far away. Let's look. And we had done a whole activity where they had learned what it was like to carry water and have to heat your own water and all the work that went involved with water. And we took a look at what some kind of, really murky, I got pond water, and showed the kind of water some people were drinking. It was very, very powerful. So I don't care what age group you're teaching, you can do community servants with that age group. Building community in the classroom is essential for creating an environment in which students feel valued, respected, and engaged. By creating a sense of belonging in the classroom, we can have a profound impact on our students through their academic, social emotional learning, and in their behavioral choices. It is not necessary for all of our students to be besties. My maple syrup guy and I have what is a tenuous connection at best, but my repeated purchases have demonstrated respect for his product, the integrity of his product, and his trust in me demonstrated a respect for my continued patronage and support. But we are not besties. But if we saw each other in a social situation, I'm sure we'd have a chat. I would be up for it. By building a sense of community between our students, we are creating safe touch points in their lives as they go through the rest of their school life with these peers. And the research demonstrates the benefits of this: higher academic achievement, increased emotional well-being, better behavior, and lower dropout rates, to name just a few. Integrating simple activities throughout the day is enough. Build classroom community through what you are already doing. The essence of a strong classroom community is developed through the everyday activities and your consistent efforts to make each student feel like they're a valued part of the group. With so much at stake, it is essential to prioritize community building in the classroom, even if it's just by taking baby steps, one step at a time. We have seen the impact of COVID on kids, and I keep hearing the kids are different. Let's be honest, kids aren't different. The needs of children have never changed. Their access to having those needs met changed during COVID. We can turn this around by things like community building and giving them opportunities even at a later stage. Developmentally, they may be stuck at an age. Give them an opportunity to develop age appropriate behavior. Kate, coming off my soapbox here. Take baby steps, one step at a time. The essence of a strong community lies in the small, everyday interactions. Thank you for watching. This has been a bit of a longer one. Please join me again, and you will see some suggested videos on the right of the screen that are maybe a little bit related to this. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And thank you for joining me today. Hope to see you soon.